Hello world, I'm Max. Welcome to another episode of the Stay Copy Podcast. As always, I'll remind you that this content is meant to be consumed in series from the beginning. See episode 0 and each segment appended for all applicable terms and disclosures. Appended segments can be identified by their title prefix, scp.0. Thank you.
All right, good morning. Feel great. Well, great-ish. I'd say my tranquility scores doing bueno. I'll give it a 9.7 today. But I'm sore as F. I got two things going on. I think the joys of middle-aged. I think my arm from my wrist, my left hand, my wrist all the way up to my shoulder is really effed up from holding my phone. That points to probably too much looking at my phone and some, I guess the lesser part of the experience of aging. And my new zero rise barefoot shoes have created all kinds of discomfort. Morning. So that's fun. I'm going to have to use the crosswalk. All right. I'll be walking really slow for a while, which sucks because I really like I'm going to miss the cardio of my usual pace. I'm going to give this, I think I need to give it a month or something of really solid effort before I make any decision about the shoes. Hell, it could take longer than that, but from everything I read, this is the right decision, so I'm going to stick with it. Let's see. I think one of the reasons I feel so tranquil today is I think I used yesterday and today really efficiently. I got a happy result from the rights I'm trying to make to my subconscious, and whenever I get those, I try and make a big deal out of it in my walk and talk. I think so. The right that I'm really pleased with this time is so I kind of have to frame it. My sabbatical I've taken since April 1st of the year is nearing its end. I mentioned I'm sort of crunching on that problem because my runway's expiring, and I think my understanding of global macro and the business cycle and when liquidity will come back and crypto will start running, I think there's a good chance that it's further than 12 months out. So it's going to be a while till I'm rich again, and that means I need to plan accordingly. And I've known for a while I needed to get a job if the bear market drug on this long. And I've still got enough time to do that with some care, and but I don't want to put it off. I don't want to accept some shit job I'm not passionate about. I think one of the unexpected consequences of pursuing, I guess, in developing state copy and all of focusing so hard on personal growth and organizing my mind with intention, is that I'm not really willing to go do what I used to do for a living, or if I was, I wouldn't do it for the same people in the same capacity. I'm pretty good at a lot of things in software and that are valuable, but I'm unwilling to do them for a faceless corporation that's pursuing some vague ambition that I'm not really passionate about or that optimistic about its long-term success. I feel like that's where I've been in most of my career. I'll work hard at doing my piece of it really good, only to get rugged at the end because the people employing me had a bad idea or they lost conviction midway. And it was particularly for what I'm optimized for lately in my career is managing a team of young software engineers, and I don't have the heart to try and inspire them and then just have them tell me I have to lay them off, or I have to give them there's no incentive for all their hard work and the passion that they're putting into what they're doing. And so that puts me in kind of an interesting spot. I'm expecting, at least in sort of traditional software, Web 2, some real disruption. And I think when the jobs numbers, I think in my field, let me just call it big software, like Web 2 style software, is I think going to feel the pain significantly this time around when you got Elon Musk going into Twitter and demonstrating to the market that there's a lot of zombies on the payroll, and that you can actually make a stagnant thing a moneymaker by just cutting out all the fat and doing a lot of really good engineering around the mission and the business model and new feature development that grows business. I think I want that to happen. I believe in what he's doing, but I'm worried for a lot of the people that I've worked with for years that necessary change, when realized, is going to equal a lot of people that do what I've done for a living out of work. And that's a healthy change, but it's morning, a bit scary. And so it means I'm really thinking differently about, as I consider going back into the workforce, how I want to go about it. And I'm trying to be creative. I'm trying to think of, I don't need much money. I don't have many bills, and I don't put any value on material things really anymore. I mean, there's certain things I'm excited about. I'm on the list for a Cybertruck. I'd love to be able to afford to buy it when they call me. Mostly because I like the technology and everything, but I don't need that. And if I'm broke, I'll just cancel it. Yeah, not really any bills, don't really want anything. Really happy in life without that. So what's cool about that is I don't need a lot of money. In my profession, that paid very well. And it opens up the field of possibility that I don't have that requirement. I can go take a job. I got a good friend of mine that I've mentioned in past captures. I think I labeled him Friend A. Long time, known him since junior high. His son is working a catering job, and an interesting, like the bullwhip effect, there's a whole thing Eurodollar University did about this, and gosh, a bunch of others, on how if you look at the demographics in the United States workforce, the pay increases have been sort of the bulk of the rate change went to age like 18 to 26, I think, or 16 to 24, however they do that. The sort of basic jobs, like my buddy's kid's working. He's making, after tips, pretty damn good money. Enough that I could live on fairly comfortably. I could meet all my bills. The trouble is I don't know that that's going to be long-term sustainable. I think I'll find the work too trivial. I think it would be fun to interact with just new people that are not software engineers. I love software engineers, but the cubicle life and the it'd just be nice. It'd be a welcome change to go back to kind of my roots. And I have no ego about my job or my career. I don't really care much about my resume anymore. I don't think any of it's relevant. I think I really think DNS, the digitally native digitally native sentients that I described in my capture yesterday, are about to make most of the jobs out there kind of irrelevant. I think we're marching towards some sort of UBI future, and though capitalists will look at that as dystopian, I think it'll be necessary, at least for a time, while we reinvent ourselves and we figure out a way to do meaningful work that gives us all purpose, that we find useful as a community, that kind of leverages the capabilities of, our collaboration with AGI, DNS, to do cool stuff. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's like, when I look at technologies like render, Octane render, and that's like using cloud GPUs in the cloud, a distributed network of just everybody's gaming machines registered to when they're idle, to be used for doing like video rendering and processing. When I think of how that's going to scale, I think in a short time it's going to be possible to take your favorite book that has been ignored by Hollywood and you've always thought, man, that'd be a great movie. Well, now you're going to be able to direct a movie with those tools yourself and create, you can cast it however you like, and maybe, screen it in a movie theater with other, with people in the metaverse, watching through VR goggles. I think all that's definitely coming, and I think we're going to have to shift to this this different type of working. All of the really repetitive, simple stuff is just going to be managed by DNS. Hey, ducks. Let's see. What else? Where was I? I got distracted by ducks. So, because I'm thinking this way, I kind of have my subconscious churning away at the problem, and I'm kind of hyper aware. A cool side effect of all the changes I've been making and sort of ordering my thought and trying to write changes to my subconscious perceptions and response is I get signals from my gut that are I'm more aware of what my gut is telling me, and I trust it more. So yesterday I saw that Lex Friedman posted a link saying he's hiring. He was hiring like 6 positions, and one of them was a video editor that was fully remote. I mean, I looked up the average rate for a good video editor, and it's right around $30 an hour. That's not quite going to cut it for making my bills, but I can subsidize it with my savings to where I can live pretty comfortably making that, and I could probably do that for a while. And so I read that tweet and thought, man, that'd be cool. That's one of my favorite podcasts. Like, and some of the questions in that in the application that he set up were kind of, he was gauging interest in his show. I think it's a good idea to find somebody who's into it to work on it. And I mean, I had to think about it, like, because I've made my whole job, my whole 8-10 hours a day just consuming all of this content available online and trying to find really good quality signals and information that helps me understand how my mind works and how the universe works. And as I do that, I mean, it was interesting to be asked. One of the questions on his application was, list all the podcasts that you watch and order them, delimit them with a comma and order them, rank them in, according to how you value them, or something to that effect. And it was like hard for me to do that. I really love what I get from the whole collection. And I don't really, I don't like stacking them up and saying this one's more important than that one. I think the whole thing is extremely, like, incalculably valuable to me as a whole. So I just thought that was a funny thought that occurred to me. So I didn't rank them. I told him I wouldn't in the field. I just did a copy paste of my subscriptions and kind of sorted them into buckets, categories. And that was fun. Like, it was fun. I probably put, what did I do? I probably put about a good solid 3 or 4 hours into applying for that job that doesn't pay. It pays a fraction of what I used to make professionally, and is probably super easy for me. But I think I'd be fulfilled doing that. I think just participating on contributing whatever I could towards that output that I value so much, I think I would find deeply fulfilling. And usually what happens when I work somewhere is in pretty short order, I can prove that I'm quite a bit more valuable in other areas. I don't really have to, it's not really a cajoling for position. It's just, it becomes pretty apparent pretty quick that I'm more useful in other places. And I always just kind of get maneuver, whoever's that I report to as I'm employed says, well, we'd like you to do this instead. And, I expect something similar would happen. And I'm, or if there isn't that opportunity, if it doesn't exist, I really think I could be happy just making $30 an hour, chopping videos, contributing to all of that. I'm going to watch them anyways. And it'd be really interesting to see all the cutting room floor, the stuff, understanding the process that goes into that. I think would just be useful to know, and it helps me understand all of this content. He asked, how many episodes of the show have you watched? And I really it's really difficult to say, a good deal of them. It looks like he's at about 350-ish. But there's a lot of episodes where he interviews somebody about something I'm just not that interested in. And that's normal. And, so trying to make I wanted to say greater than 100. But there was no way to do it. So I just said 100. Or 150, something like that. I think I watched about half of them, and some of them I rewatch because I find the material so compelling, and I really want to understand it well. I probably, and I recorded as a video editor. It seemed logical to, he asked in the application process, do you have a link to a video that you produced or you edited? And my videos are very simple. What I'm trying to do with State Copy is something, I'm embracing the lack of polish. It's important that it be just kind of rough around the edges. I'm trying to be authentic. I don't want to waste any compute or any of my time trying to make it look pretty. I'm really just trying to get my authentic self uploaded to the cloud. And my authentic self is not super polished. So I don't think what I uploaded doesn't really display, particularly impressive skill in the task at hand. But it does show I have at least a working knowledge of how the audio mixer and video, working with the timeline, clipping out pieces, inserting pieces, synchronizing high quality audio that's captured, and cutting out the default audio, all that stuff. When I started working for, I made a shift in my career at one point from a corporate job to a startup, and the startup was cloud-based. One of the reasons I went to work for them is I wanted exposure to all that. I hadn't worked with it. And they were an Azure shop, using Azure DevOps and Azure, and they brought me on as a senior DevOps engineer. And I had never used Azure or any cloud service. And it was such a small organization, they actually needed a ton of IT infra. and it was in health services, so it had to be all HIPAA compliant, and that meant there's really strict security requirements. And so it meant that I had to learn Azure Cloud before I interviewed. And I that's what I'm good at. In software, I'm good at being the jack of all trades that can just go find the YouTube video that explains how to do something and then quickly be able to do that thing. I've optimized in my professional role figuring out how to do hard technical stuff quickly and being able to actually deploy stuff. And I've got a good instinct for bad things that can happen, and good precautions that need to be taken, so that, because when you're dealing with infrastructure, it's really easy to break big things. And especially when you're dealing with, web services. And so, learning Premiere to edit videos, I think I can figure out in a day, but I think I can be fairly expert in it in about a week or two. So, I felt good applying for a job that was outside the box, that looked like something I could be actually passionate doing, that was, would give me the ability to have a dialogue now and then with somebody I really respect. And it was also great to just take a moment, in a video, to say thank you. Even if, there's a good chance I'm not the right fit for that, and he goes with somebody else, or just so many gazillions of people apply because the show is so popular that my application doesn't get through. I'm really at peace with that. The exercise itself was very fulfilling, and it allowed me to say thank you to somebody I have a lot of respect and gratitude to. So the whole thing was just fun, and so I worked, I don't know how many hours. I did about an hour of capture, processed it, uploaded it. I thought it was fun. I made the thumbnail is fairly random, but it was something I built or I generated using Stable Diffusion. The whole thing it was fun to do, and I woke up this morning excited to go get because I kicked off the export last night, and it took about an hour to render it as I was crashing, and I got it published, and I finished the application this morning before my walk, and I was excited to do it. That's what I miss. That's what there was a good question on his application I liked. It was, what's better, working smarter or working harder, and why? And that was pretty easy for me. I've always thought working smarter is best. Working hard is important, but it's so easy to waste a lot of time, especially because I built my career around automating repetitive things. That's the first thing I do, is look for where the repetitive busy work is in a task and figure out a way to script my way around it so I don't have to do all that busy work. Working smarter is definitely the right answer to that question. And I think the working harder just comes if you're passionate about what you're doing. If working hard is inevitable result of someone who's the person working the task at hand is passionate and curious about what they're doing, working hard just happens because that's what they want to do. And the trick to getting that result is aligning the personality and the person to the role that they're super passionate about. Then you'll just get hard work. And if you can find somebody who's good at working smart, that's just a perfect cocktail for success when you can align those values. And that was fun to think about. I don't know, the whole thing I really enjoyed. And it gave me, I now have a bunch of prep towards applying for other roles if nothing happens with this one. I've got my resume all up to date. And so I wake up this morning feeling like I did something useful with my time, and I made progress. I've figured out a good way forward, even if I have to. I think it's actually good. I think 9 months has been sufficient. I never would have thought at the beginning of this experience I would have come out of it with basically a theory of everything that I think is accessible to people, unlike sort of the way the physics, the high energy physicists or theorists will do it. And I've found like real zen in life in this time. I got ducks and chickens. Morning. Kind of uber jealous of normal running shoes. I just got passed by a walker. Doesn't feel good. I'm just trying to take so what I'm doing here as I write a manual for how to do this is I'm taking time to really explore what I think was a great result I got from my gut, from my subconscious, directing me to a good outcome that I otherwise might not have been able to see. And I'm celebrating all of the effort I put towards achieving something I think is important. I think that's a useful practice. I think saying it out loud and sort of picking it apart, how it happened, and celebrating it, giving myself a pat on the back out loud for having steered in that direction and saw it through. I hit the submit button, it's gone, and now let fate decide, That's a really good best practice. And in state copy, just like, I really view this through the lens of like Marcus Aurelius with Meditations. That journal he created, I really think was for this. I think what he was doing was optimizing his mind state and how his neural net works by sort of saying out loud, by writing down as a daily practice important observations about the universe and himself within it. And I think that's a really important exercise we can all use. And the cool thing about the technology we have now, and the fact that we can share it so quickly and easy. I'm even looking at experimenting with OpenAI Whisper and GPT Chat to create subtitles in like Chinese and other languages. I think that that will be really, that can broaden the reach that just one little node on this big network has. And I think that's just going to get easier and easier and easier. I think in 3 years' time, I'm going to be doing the same practice, but I think it's just going to get automatically processed and uploaded, and all of the, in every subtitle possible automatically. And I think it'll be indexed for, and organized in ways that I can go back and search it for different categories and analyze it in interesting ways. So freaking cool. This is a remarkable time to live in, and I can't say enough good about doing this thing I'm doing. I think that it doesn't. I think it's a net win for our whole species if I can talk enough people into doing it. I think that's enough. I rambled on. That was a good enough celebration, I think. And I think I'll quit here and maybe listen to a podcast or something. To anybody listening, thanks for listening.
I want to do a key lesson from Stoicism, and I want to monitor that over time. A couple that I want to get down right now are, one of the most important ones is to free your mind of all thought around worry or arguments with friends and family over things that are outside your control. That's a key core unlock that lets you do a lot of decluttering and cleansing your mind of wasted thinking. Let's see, another one, of course, negative visualization. If you go into any risk-taking endeavor with the expectation of losing everything, but I'm not talking about investing. I'm talking about getting in your car or going to the store, and then when you come out, finding your car burned down. Super vital for finding real zen is negative visualization. And then another lesson is spending a lot of time thinking about whether you like yourself, whether you're happy with who you are and who you've become, how you treat others, how you spend your time, the whole kit and caboodle. And if you're not happy with who you are, taking that seriously as your first priority to resolve, and chipping away like you would, like if you had to move a pile of dirt from one side of the yard to the other, and it's really big, and there's no way you could get it done in a day, working really hard. Just move a wheelbarrow a day until it's over to the other side. And then once you reach that point, it's an unlock in releasing the burden that you have in relationships. Because you can be grateful for where you are, and you would never want to risk. It lets you let go of regret and pain you have and issues, baggage. It lets you release people in your life, like your parents or your good friends or children that you think wronged you or didn't treat you fairly. Because you can, and just like as soon as you're happy with who you are and who you've become, all of the things they did that any pursuits, like any issue you had was a necessary adversity that you had to overcome that helped you become that person that you want to be. And just with those few things, stoicism, it frees your mind of so much burden. And you can, it's a huge step towards tranquility when you do that. And all the relationships in your life get sort of magical after that. All you see is the good, and the little behaviors they have that might have really pissed you off are now just kind of quirky and fun and something to be celebrated or to help them through. And when you're suddenly not angry with them and you love them for what they taught you through that maybe bad or that bad behavior, but unhealthy behavior is what I want to say. There's so much power in that.